Tuskegee, Alabama is a city of 12,000 people. It is ruled by a majority black vote, administered by a black mayor, and policed by an all-black police department. For more than 2 years now, this department has been racked by rumors that some people inside the department have been either dealing in drugs or protecting known narcotics dealers. Some local citizens here in Tuskegee say the department has not been able to solve enough burglaries, and they have not been able to stop a rash of purse snatchings and other street crimes. Adding to the already serious problems is an admission by Police Chief Herbert Sears, Jr., that some members of his department are suspected of protecting drug dealers and of selling hard narcotics on the streets of Tuskegee while they are supposed to be enforcing drug laws. Chief Sears is beset by heavy debts, and that's been cited by some in Tuskegee as a possible liability to his efficient administration of the police department. Sears says his financial problems have not hindered his performance as chief of police. The mayor and city council have ordered the situation cleaned up. The people of Tuskegee are upset over what they describe as a crime wave. Those concerned includes the city's mayor, a local newspaper editor, the county's probate judge, and a state senator. Mayor Johnny Ford says it's a serious matter, and he would do what is necessary.
We're very concerned about this matter, Norman. It's been called to our attention that there are some accusations about wrongdoing in the police department, and the council has laid down an ultimatum that the police department should take some affirmative actions in the following areas. Number one, to investigate to make sure that whether or not officers are involved in illegal activities. We want to know that, and a complete investigation must be made. Secondly, to improve their conduct and their treatment of citizens. That has been raised as a problem, as well as about their personal bills and personal activities in public. These are areas that we are very concerned about. Now, in terms of what steps I shall take as mayor, I will simply say this, that the good name of Tuskegee is in question here, and I will do whatever is necessary to make sure that I am convinced in my heart that there is no wrongdoing going on in the police department.
Tuskegee News editor Stan Voigt says something has to be done.
We have a serious problem in credibility among citizens, in efficiency of the police department, and I think it goes beyond just normal problems you would have in a small town police department. It's serious. There's citizens here who are upset, who whether right or wrong, they live in fear, and we've got some problems that have to be taken care of.
State Senator Dudley Perry says he's been asked to get state police to help solve the problem.
There have been, in fact, a number of requests. Various citizens of the county have called me greatly concerned and have asked me if I would ask that there be state law enforcement people sent into Macon County.
Is this coming from the black and the white communities?
Yes, sir. I would say that the calls that I have had have been fairly equally divided. The concern appears to me to be in all of the communities, all of the segments of the community, without any regard to race at all.
County probate judge Preston Hornsby says interdepartmental bickering should be stopped, and that may help solve the problem.
The serious thing, the thing that I think it hinders the most is they just don't get out and work. And they don't get along with one another. They don't cooperate and try to work the cases together. If one officer knows something, he just seems to not want to tell the other officer. This I can't understand why they don't cooperate. And they just don't work to get the job done. I don't believe they know how.
Judge Hornsby, you say they don't cooperate, and if one knows something, he won't tell the other. You've been in Macon County a long time, and you have a lot of sources. How serious is this inability of these people to not work together?
It's real serious. It's real serious. And if they don't cooperate together, they never will be able to enforce the law. If one's working one way and another, there ain't no way in the world they can solve a case.
This is part of the story told to us by two Tuskegee police officers, one a longtime veteran and of high rank. They told of officers interrupting patrol duties to go see a girlfriend, of one man paying others to work his watch, of other officers consorting with known drug dealers, and of police officers in Tuskegee coming to work high on marijuana. Our sources have a total of 15 years on the Tuskegee Police Department, but they wish to remain anonymous because they feared reprisals. We'll look at a major part of the Tuskegee police problem in a moment. This is Tuskegee's Moulton Field. Back in the 40s, America's first black military pilots were trained here. Now, federal drug agents say Moulton Field is used by major narcotics dealers as a dropping point for heroin and cocaine. One Tuskegee man has already been convicted on federal narcotics conspiracy charges after he allegedly told drug agents in 2 states that Moulton Field could be used as a dropping point for drugs. C.A. Anderson has been flying on or near this field for over 30 years, and he's observed most things that have taken place here over those 30 years, and he says he suspects that narcotics deals have been taking place here at Moulton Field.
Oh, I'd say about, it must have been about a year ago. We were out here at a meeting right here later than we had expected. There was 2 airplanes parked out here, side by side. They're very expensive twin-engine airplanes in the above the $100,000 bracket.
Is that normal for this airport?
Not at that time, no. That's why I was wondering why they were here. And so along about, we were late getting out of this meeting, along about 11:30 or 11:45, another plane came in. And the man got out of the plane carrying a little white box and walked toward one of the planes, which made us very suspicious, to the extent that we had heard rumors about this sort of thing happening out here, transferring of dope, that we called the city police, the detectives, notified the FAA, Federal, Flight Service, and also the FBI. And they left immediately because after they saw us, they left immediately. And
the planes took off immediately?
Yeah, planes took off immediately. Yeah.
All 3?
All 3 of them, that's right. One minute, they got out, one plane got in the other 2. Left immediately, and no flight plan was filed at all, and generally, if a plane of that expensive, generally, there's a flight plan filed. Flight Service said there was no flight plan filed whatsoever. And they were gone, so that's about all it was to it. We couldn't determine who it was or anything like that.
Chief Anderson, you fly in and out of this airport frequently. Have you been told by anybody that there was some narcotics trafficking going on here using this airport in planes?
Yes, I was told by a person who worked for security on the campus. As a matter of fact, where a student said that this dope was dropped off here, and it'd be rather dangerous for me to get involved in trying to investigate what was happening, just for me to stay out of it.
Tuskegee Police Chief Herbert Sears, Jr. is a man in his mid-30s. He has the problems of most small-town police chiefs: a low budget, low salaries, and a high turnover rate among his officers. And Herbert Sears, Jr., the Chief of Police of Tuskegee, Alabama, is in the middle of the hot seat in this controversy. Some of your officers say that you show up for work intoxicated.
I've never showed up for work intoxicated, nor have I ever drank anything while on duty.
Okay. All right, there's some accusations by some of your people that you were involved in a hit-and-run accident at the Torch restaurant near Auburn.
There's no substance to that. As a matter of fact, I talked with the owner of the vehicle, so I can't see how that's going to be classified as a hit-and-run.
You did not hit the vehicle and leave the scene?
Yes, because I did not know that I had struck the vehicle. The vehicle, I think, was made out of fiberglass, and the damage was so minimal that I didn't even know that the vehicle had been struck. I talked with the lady and told her that I was responsible for all damages, which I would be.
There have been members of the department, or a member of the department, that say that you will disappear and not be on the radio, and that you cannot be found by using the radio.
There's been no time that I've disappeared. I constantly stay in touch with the department, let the department knows where I can be contacted, and I check back periodically, even at night and on weekends.
Chief Sears, it's common knowledge that you have some financial problems. Is it an obstacle to you, your financial situation? Is it an obstacle to you to enforce the laws of the city of Tuskegee?
My financial situation has not been a block to my job in any way. I think that I do a good job under the circumstance. I don't think anyone else could have done a better job. My financial situation, I owe bills the same as any other person owe bills, but my financial situation has not blocked me from performing as the chief of police in any manner.
Chief Sears, it's been said that you make personal loans from your own men and that you owe a former police officer $1,000. What would you say to that?
I would say that's completely erroneous.
Did you know that other police departments in this area in south central Alabama, some of them don't trust the Tuskegee Police Department with intelligence information because they feel like you have some leaks within your department?
I have heard that to a certain extent, that there are some departments that don't. Of course, we have a working relationship with all of the law enforcement agencies.
Have you been told by other officers at other departments in drug intelligence that they can't give you intelligence information because they feel like the drug pushers and traffickers might get it?
I was told that on one occasion. This particular individual contacted me personally because, as a matter of fact, he said that he felt that he didn't know who to trust and that he had been given my name, and he contacted me, and he did express that to me.
You have female officers in your department?
Yes, I do.
We've been told by several of those female officers that they have problems with you, Chief Sears, wanting to have a personal relationship with them, and that they are punished because they will not give in to you. What would you say to that?
I would say that you can check the records on that. I can't think right now of any of the female officers that have been disciplined, with the exception perhaps of one officer, and this case was clear, and I was not a member of the board. In this particular case, it was adjudicated by a board of her own peers. With that exception, I can't think of any other female officers that have been disciplined.
Do you suspect members of your department of protecting drug dealers in the city of Tuskegee?
I'd rather not comment on that, Norman. We're taking any action that we can at this particular point to uncover any leaks in that department. And of course, this being intelligence information, I'm not at liberty to discuss that right now.
All right, may I ask you this then? Do you have an investigation presently into whether or not some of your people are protecting drug dealers in the city of Tuskegee?
Here again, Norman, that would be police intelligence information, which I can't reveal at this particular time.
Okay, may I ask you, have you previously investigated the possibility that some of your drug officers are protecting drug dealers in the city of Tuskegee?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you come up with?
We came up with no substance to it at all at that particular time.
Are you presently investigating these people?
Here again, Norman, I can't make a comment on that because, as I said, that would be intelligence information.
Chief Sears, we've been told by several officers on your department that they have made drug raids, and by the time they got there, the drug dealers knew that they were coming and had a chance to get rid of the narcotics.
In some instances, yes, we have made some drug raids and found nothing upon arrival.
Do you believe that there's somebody within your department who is tipping off these people?
Well, I'd rather not comment on that, Norman, but I'll tell you the procedure that we started using, that no one knows where we're going to hit until such time. Everyone is called up, and then they're told where we're going.
All right. Let me ask you like this. Have you had problems in the past with narcotics dealers being tipped off before you got there?
Well, I can't say as to whether they were tipped off or not, but as I said, we have made drug raids and have come up with nothing.
We may need some additional help. The chief has admitted that he came to the Montgomery Police Department and asked their help in surveillance, and somehow the word...
Surveillance on some of his own officers?
As I understand,
right.
Yes. And as a result of that investigation, nothing was conclusively established in terms of the officers being involved. But we're going to do whatever is necessary, Norman, to get to the heart of this matter, because it keeps coming up over and over and over. Ever since I've been mayor of that city, and even before I became mayor, there were accusations about police officers involved in narcotics and drugs. All I can say is that we shall do whatever is necessary to try to come to the bottom of this matter, because I need to be satisfied in my heart that we don't have that kind of a situation going on.
The problems here at the Tuskegee Police Department are not unlike those of other police departments in towns of comparable size. There's a problem of paying the men and women enough. There's a problem of getting adequate equipment. And then there's the cries from citizens that not enough crimes are being solved. The city council here in Tuskegee also is contributing to that problem. We're told by a reliable source that some city council members have interfered with the operation of this police department, and some of the council members actually have police officers inside the department acting as their agent, telling them of daily activities within the department and interfering with the administration of the police jurisdiction here by Chief Sears. And then there's the persistent rumors that somebody inside the department is tipping off drug dealers and actually selling cocaine and heroin on the streets of Tuskegee themselves. Until those rumors are cleared up, the stock of the police department will continue to be very low among the citizens that it is supposed to be policing. In Tuskegee, Alabama, this is Norman Lumpkin, WSFA TV News for Composite.
On Friday, January 27, the Insurance Commissioner, State of Oklahoma, referred to this office a transcript of a proceeding involving the sale of stock of United Founders Life Insurance Company to Louis J. Russell. Mr. William Baxley testified as a character witness in that hearing. The Insurance Commissioner of the State of Oklahoma has asked us to examine the material submitted to determine whether or not perjury charges will be lodged against Mr. Baxley because of his denial of prior business dealings Mr. Russell. That matter is now under investigation and should be concluded within the next week to 10 days.
Mr. Baxley, what do you have to say about the reports that District Attorney in Oklahoma City may try to indict you for perjury in connection with your testimony at some hearings having to do with Louis Russell?
Norman, again, it's nothing to it. It's just like these other stories that are going around now trying to get the issue off the future campaign. I am delighted for him to look into anything he wants to. Certainly I hadn't committed any perjury, any other offense out there. The only request that I've got to make is that after he finishes looking, and I'm assuming he's an honest man, I think he's going to look thoroughly, but after he looks and makes a determination that I hadn't committed any crime and hadn't told any untruth or done any other thing dishonest or illegal, then I hope that he'll issue a statement and the press people will give that statement just as much play that Baxley's cleared as they have these ridiculous and asinine allegations that have made.
You have any idea where this all stemmed from, who prompted it?
Oh yeah, I know where it came from. It's the same thing as all this business that were in the paper, pictures of my checks, and no basis to any of it. It started from the same people.
You're saying now that this is a political ploy to get you out of the 1978 governor's race. Is that correct?
Well, it's a political ploy to keep me from winning because they know, the people that are doing it know that they can't attack my record as Attorney General. They can't attack what we've done in that office. And by the same token, the other two candidates that some of the supporters are pushing this, they don't have public records they can stand on. So they're trying to divert the issue and get it off where people are talking about these charges rather than talking about how I've done as Attorney General compared to how Beasley did running the Senate and how Brewer did running the Senate when he was over there.
Who's behind this alleged ploy?
It's three newsmen and some political candidates and their supporters.
Would you name them for us?
Yes, sir. It's Harold Martin and Jay Lewis and a newsman named Les Coleman in Birmingham. And every other member of the press, without exception, in this state's been fair. They've reported it fairly and unbiased.
Do you know why these people are doing it? And are they working for any particular political campaign, this Lewis, Coleman, and Harold Martin?
I don't think they're working for any particular campaign. Harold Martin is doing it because Mr. Russell tried to buy that newspaper and fire Martin one time. And so he just got a crazy hatred for Russell. And then back when, back in '71, when I sided with Russell because he was right, then Martin turned on me and has been against me ever since.
What about Jay Lewis?
Well, that goes a little deeper. He's got some connections with his little news gathering outfit that at the proper time I'll be talking about them.
Would you elaborate on it for us now?
Yeah, I don't mind doing it.
Would you?
Okay. Jay Lewis has started a little called Alabama News, ALANet, Alabama News Network. And his number one stockholder is a company that's owned by the Farm Bureau people. His number two stockholder is somebody else. It's a political enemy of mine.
Who is that?
Jimmy Evans.
Montgomery County District
Montgomery
Attorney?
County District Attorney, who got very irate and mad at me on the Whitehurst case because I wouldn't draw and quarter those policemen. That we worked out a settlement with Mayor Robinson, and Jimmy got mad about it.
The Birmingham News reporter that you named.
No, he's not Birmingham News. Birmingham News has been very fair.
I said the Birmingham News reporter that.
Les Coleman?
Yes.
I think his is not selfishly motivated like Martin's and Lewis. I think he's just been duped by the other two.
All right. You said that this was political. Are you saying that some of the people who would be your opponents in the governor's race are behind some of this?
Oh yeah,
also?
they're the ones that put these newsmen up to doing it.
Would you name them for us?
Well, it's supporters primarily of Albert Brewer.
Could you name some?
I will at the right time. Yes, sir.
Could you do it now?
I'm not going to name them right now, but you better believe I'm going to name them and document it when this is all over.
On a normal day, this first grade class at Lowndes Academy would be full of students. For the past few days, however, about 1/3 of the children have been absent with the flu. School headmaster Tom Jones, who has missed 2 days himself due to the flu, says he first noticed the jump in the number of absences about the middle of last week. He says it gradually became worse, and today, with 75 out of 335 students out, Jones decided to call off all classes until next Monday.
It has not shown a leveling off, and rather it has increased, so we felt like that it'd be best for us to close down 2 days before the long weekend in hopes that we can get a lot of our troops recuperated. The teachers, they can't give an exam, they can't get into new material because so many are absent, then they have to come back and redo this. So we are spinning our wheels more or less.
Jones added more high school students have been affected with the illness than elementary or junior high students. Numerous teachers have been affected also. Jones says he hopes classes can resume as normal next Monday, but if the absentee rate remains as high as it is now, Jones says he'll probably have to close the school again. This is Dave Rickey, WSFA TV News, Lounsboro.
More than 30 witnesses, most of them cancer patients wearing badges supporting Laetrile, urged the House Health Committee to legalize the sale of Laetrile as a food substance. 14 states have legalized its sale. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has banned the sale as a drug. Requests were made to permit the manufacture of the product in the state. Laetrile is derived from the pits of apricots and other fruits. Michael Culbert of Los Angeles, representing the Committee for Freedom of Choice in Cancer Therapy, urged the legalizing of Laetrile as part of a broad-based treatment for cancer. Bobby Smith, a cancer patient from Opelika, is now taking Laetrile and believes in its use.
I asked the doctor at Emory, I said, what are my chances if I have amputation? Because that's, that wouldn't be quite a severe problem. I could adjust to that. He said, well, synovial sarcoma, when you cut, you spread the germs or disease, and you'd have a 1 in 4 chance of living. I said, okay. I said, how long does that 1 in 4 survive? And he said, an average of 5 years. Well, thank goodness I had a choice to make.
The Medical Association of Alabama states that Laetrile is of no proven value as a drug for the treatment of any disease. Dr. Jack Kirschenfeld of Montgomery, director of the Montgomery Area Community Health Services, an opponent at today's hearing, says that there have been too many misconceptions about the use of Laetrile.
There has never been any reputable, documented proof that it is at all useful in treating cancer or anything else for that matter. Thirdly, cancer is a very unpredictable disease. I've treated thousands of cases in my time, and some patients just get well on their own, no reason at all, without treatment. Every cancer is different. There are hundreds of different types. In addition, cancer is curable. There are many, many cases that I have quite a few in my roles who have been treated and are perfectly well.
George Mitchell, WSFA TV News, the state capital. Representative Thomas Reed was convicted in Montgomery Circuit Court last July for a misdemeanor for attempted bribery in connection with an ill-fated dog racing bill for Macon County. Businessman John James of Union Springs in Bullock County filed suit last month here in Montgomery, claiming Reed is unlawfully holding a seat in the state legislature because of that conviction. And James cites Title 14 of the Alabama Code that the crime of attempted bribery is one involving moral turpitude and is an infamous crime. Those same words were issued today here in Montgomery Circuit Court. In seeking an injunction today to bar Reed from serving in the legislature, attorney for the plaintiff James Upchurch told the court failure to grant an injunction means a constant violation of state law and the Constitution. That under the circumstances, moral sensibility of the public is tried and creates irreparable damage to the public. George Dean, attorney for Reed, claimed the jury which convicted his client of a misdemeanor for attempting to offer a bribe failed to address the issue properly, that his client was convicted of an attempt to bribe. Dean said no circuit court can tell a legislator he cannot serve in the legislature. The question of Reed serving in the legislature, he said, should be decided by that body. Dean said to remove Reed would be taking a voice away from the people who elected him, and those people are relying on him to handle their local legislation. Upchurch said the law is clear and cannot be argued that Reed gave up his right to serve in the legislature when he was convicted of the misdemeanor. He said the Alabama Constitution provides that no person convicted of an infamous crime is eligible to serve in the legislature, that Reed has usurped and unlawfully held and exercised the office of state representative during the current session of the Alabama legislature. The session ends in April, and Upchurch has asked that a positive decision be made as quickly as possible. Reed, who is the state president of the NAACP, was tried first on felony bribery charges, but was found guilty of a lesser charge and fined $500. The Attorney General, in an advisory opinion, says Reed should be removed from office. That is only an opinion and is not legally binding. Reed is not receiving his legislative pay, and the legislature has refused to take a stand on his conviction. At today's hearing, Representative Reed was the only one to provide vocal testimony. He answered routine questions. John James, the man who filed the suit, did not attend the hearing. James, who says he has no fuss with Reed but believes the black legislator has been a disgrace to his District 67 in Bullock and Macon counties. He says he entered the suit for the benefit of all the people of the district. He wants the courts to decide whether he is a state representative or not. From the Montgomery County Circuit Court, George Mitchell, WSFA TV News.
Although the proponents of House Bill 502 outnumbered opponents almost 3-1, the opponents were the most vocal. The primary objection of delegation member Alvin Holmes was a possibility of racial unbalance, while other objections ranged from the high cost of annexation to disagreements over the new city limit lines drawn by Mayor Farmer.
Now, I think that annexation for this town would be good if we were to annex predominantly the populated areas. I think that annexation of acres and acres of sparsely populated acres and acres is wrong.
There must be some cause why the subject of the price of these improvements hasn't been brought up. Now, when the mayor himself said, well, I think we'll spend about $2 million. Mayor, I couldn't believe it. The price of streets, the price of sewers, the price of all of those things. Well, maybe it's because the mayor figured the property owner would pay it. But who will be causing that property owner to pay it? You will.
But if the number of proponents at the hearing is any indication, the mayor's annexation plan has a great deal of support.
I do have a petition for the Southline community in English Village. It's signed by over, I would say, probably about 800 or 900 signatures on this petition. And it represents approximately 750 homes. And we have about less than 1,100 homes in that area. So you might tell we have a good ratio. In other words, we have about 2/3 of the homes in that area is on this petition here.
I am as concerned about the question of dilution of the black vote. As much as that subject may be unpopular with some and may be undesirable to bring up, it is a fact of life and we have to deal with it. I would be opposed to the proposal if I saw where it would have that effect.
Most of the annexation proponents were representatives of either the Montgomery Board of Realtors or the Montgomery Home Builders Association.
We're proud that the mayor has seen fit to present an orderly plan for growth. We need this orderly plan to provide the services and to get Montgomery, or to keep Montgomery growing in the right direction.
The sponsor of the House bill, Representative Bishop Barron, offered an amendment to the bill requiring a public vote on the issue by all persons in the city, as well as persons in those of areas to be affected. Mayor Falmer assured the committee he had no objections to that idea. Committee Chairman Cecil Wyatt said he would announce the date for the next meeting as soon as he could find a time suitable to all the members. This is Dave Rickey, WSFA TV News, the state capitol.
Well, the 60-yard dash headed by Harvey Glantz. That'll be the real spectacular running event, I believe.
Yes, he's won a couple recently, and he's going good. And if you get some good competition, we might see get close to a record, do you think?
Yes, sir. I really believe it.
Okay, how about that 440?
The 440 is going to be a real good race. The track's in real good shape. It's one of the finest running indoor tracks in the country, and Willie Smith and Evis Jennings from Mississippi State ought to have a real good run. We have a late entry from Nassau, Bahamas, and Leslie Miller.
An Olympian?
Yes, sir. And he's run 48 flat indoors.
He's run 3 guys who've had some great times.
Yes, sir. And I believe that this track will really help him push that time down.
And then, of course, the shot put with the 2 former world record holders.
Yes, sir. The shot put, the record in the Coliseum is a little over 60 feet. And one of these fellows has thrown 71 feet, and the other one's thrown 68. So I feel like the first time they get up into the ring, the Coliseum record will be gone.
You going to worry about the landing room out there, John?
No, sir. If they'll break that record, we're not going to worry about it at all.
Well, as I have observed politics in this state and in this nation, that I'm pleased that so far so good. It just reaffirms my belief in the democratic process. It also reaffirms my belief that justice will prevail in this case. It has caused widespread conversation throughout this state and throughout this nation. And I'm glad that it's coming to an end, hopefully, here in the state in which I reside and in the court system in which I helped to create. Again, I'm pleased that the decision of the court in the Thomas Reed case, and I hope and pray that it will soon come to an end and leave me free to attend to the affairs that the people of this state elected me to attend to.
The petition by the state to ask the U.S. Supreme Court to review decisions by the Fifth U.S. Court of Appeals
is a continual review of a 1976 order handed down by U.S. District Court Judge Frank Johnson, Jr. Attorneys for the state were successful in convincing the Court of Appeals in New Orleans on some points of its appeal, but they feel there are other areas where more relief is needed. The state's attitude relating to Johnson's order has not changed since it filed its first appeal. It was August 1975 when the state admitted in federal court that state prisoners were subjected to cruel and unusual punishment. That same month, Judge Johnson ruled that state prisons could not accept any more prisoners until the inmate population was below the system's design capacity. It was January 13, 1976, when Johnson issued his landmark decision requiring the prisons to meet a long list of constitutional standards for inmates. Food was to be improved, sleeping spaces enlarged, better hygiene and health care, and better treatment by personnel, issues the Department of Corrections has addressed itself. The appeals court set aside Johnson's injunction against searching prison visitors, agreed to more hearings on requirements of 60 square feet of living space for each inmate, and it struck down Johnson's order for rehabilitation and recreation programs in the prisons. Prison officials have repeatedly said they cannot alleviate conditions adequately because of a lack of funding by the state legislature. Johnson's order says the state is not at liberty to afford its citizens those constitutional rights which fit comfortably within its budget. The State Board of Corrections, in its petition to the U.S. Supreme Court, contends that Johnson has encroached upon the powers of the state, and it wants the High Court to throw out the 1976 order. George Mitchell, WSFA TV News.
We are both single entertainers. A lot of movement, you know, in the act. And I mean, I was influenced by Elvis Presley when I first saw him. I think he had a great influence on my career. And he sang a lot of the type of thing that I sing. And I found it, because I knew him quite well, and when we would talk, our musical backgrounds were familiar, and we liked the same type of music.
Throughout the state, crews are moving through the drifts, making their way to lights to disconnect.